Today, what we're going to do is break it down a little bit and get into and really define the three phases of your customer life, of your customer sales cycle. So, really breaking down the three distinct phases that you and your customer go through when completing a transaction, and give you some real kind of simple strategies and ideas to think about in each phase, and maybe give you a few little tidbits that you can implement right away and start really defining that process and how that looks in your business. So thank you again for joining me. I'm going to turn off the webcam now, and we're going to get started. Thanks again. So first things first, if you were with me last week, you know that this is how we started the presentation, and it's the way we're going to start it again this week, because I'm very excited about it, and I'm hoping to see all of you there, and that is at our Desert Springs California Classic, which is our VERICO retreat this year, which is open to everybody within the VERICO network. So we're really hoping to see all of you there. We have a great lineup of speakers and events planned for you this year. We're going to be having it at the JW Marriott, in Palm Desert, California. If you haven't been there, it's absolutely beautiful. Take a look at our website at www.vericoevents.com for some more information, as well as some photos that are going to be very enticing of the JW Marriott to get you out there. So I do hope to see you all there. If you haven't at least looked at the info and what we have planned for you, as I said, please go to www.vericoevents.com and take a look. And of course, if you have any questions on it, let me know. But I hope to see you all there. And the dates, once again, are September 30th to October 2nd of this year at the JW Marriott in Palm Desert, California. So with that said, let's really start to get into today's session. So as I mentioned, what we want to do today is think about the three phases you have with your customer, because there really is three distinct phases that you go through when dealing with a client. So let's start to break those down. The first is the attract and sell phase, which we kind of got into a little bit last week. We were talking about some different strategies there, but this is when you're looking to attract and bring clients into your business. So when you're looking at, how am I going to get more clients? How am I going to attract more people? How am I going to drum up more business? And then once you do get that business, is how are you going to sell them to use you? So, okay, now this person's come to me. How am I going to get them to commit and to use me as their mortgage professional? After that phase, we have the wow phase. And this is really where you can differentiate yourself, in my opinion, and really kind of take that stance as a true mortgage professional, and go past the kind of mortgage transaction and become their kind of mortgage planner and build some different strategies there. Obviously, cross sale opportunities will lie in there as well, but it really gives you the opportunity to take what you learned in that first phase, the attract and sell phase, and use it to your advantage and really wow that customer and go above and beyond. And then, of course, the last phase is active management. Once that transaction is done, what are we doing to make sure that client stays with us for life? We'll give you some sample strategies here today. I know everyone kind of runs their business in their own unique way, which is the beautiful thing about our industry. But I think there's some standardized things that everybody should be doing that we'll touch on today. So with that said, let's get started, and let's discuss the attract and sell phase. So as I mentioned, this is getting clients to come to you. So what are you doing here in terms of lead generation? There's a number of different outlets, referral sources, online advertising, print advertising, mail drops. So there's a number of different ways you can be getting leads to come into you, but this would come into the attract and sell phase and fall into this category. Of course, with the attract and sell phase, one key component here is to make sure you fine tune your internal sales process to make sure every client's getting kind of a uniform, unique experience when it comes to dealing with you. And one other thing that's important to note here in the attract and sell phase is, and I mentioned this last week as well, is I can't encourage you enough to keep track of your leads to application ratio. That way, no matter what you're doing in terms of lead generation, you have an informed idea of what's working and what's not. You want to make sure that you're not getting 100 leads and one application out of those leads, because obviously that isn't an outlet that you'd want to continue doing in terms of drumming up new business. So it's absolutely crucial, in my opinion, to make sure that you are keeping track of your leads to application ratio. So when it comes to the attract and sell phase, the first step, once you do get that client, is to discover their shopping intentions. And every client, that does come to you, and you guys very well know this, is going to be looking for something different. So the step one when it comes to that attract and sell phase, and you have that client, is make sure that you take the time to discover their shopping intentions. And above and beyond that, this is your time to be prepared and to under promise and over deliver as well. So, what are they looking for? Are they interest rate shoppers? Are you advertising on a rate site and that's how they came to you? Do they have a home to sell? If they do, there's a fantastic referral opportunity to give to one of your realtor partners to help strengthen that relationship. What are they looking for? What's the most fearful or stressful part in their eyes of this mortgage transaction? So this is your time to kind of be a little bit of a detective, so to speak, and really dig deep into what's going on in their life and what their shopping intentions are. Because that's really going to help you when we get to the next phase, which is the wow phase. The more you can get in the attract and sell phase here and discover their shopping intentions, the more it's going to help you down the line to create a customer for life. And one thing you should always ask your customers is, are you the first person they've talked to? So are you the first mortgage professional, a mortgage originator that they've had a conversation with? I think that's absolutely crucial to know. And I would definitely, if you're not asking that question when you have a new client, I would encourage you to start asking that question every time. Now, again, through the attract and sell phase, I think definitely one thing that tends to happen within our industry is we just kind of focus on that initial transaction and kind of not look at the bigger picture and kind of become that mortgage strategist. So, I know we've probably all heard it before, but it's that financial planner analogy. And I think that's a great time to use it when you're still in that sell phase with the client. So rather than focusing on that single transaction that you're going to be performing with that client, give them kind of the financial planner analogy of how you're going to strategize with them to make sure that they have the best mortgage that's suited to their specific needs. How you not only have the opportunity to sell them mortgages, but there's life insurance, which is important. There's unsecured loan products, which we have through Grow. So there's a number of different products that can really help you become that financial planner, so to speak, but on the mortgage end. So I love that analogy, but make sure that your dialogue and your delivery works for you specifically. This is also the great time to tell them about what's going on in the industry. Is it a volatile time? Is there a risk of rate hikes? Is there a risk of any hidden cost? This is a great time to talk to them as well about the different mortgage options. So are they looking, based on that kind of detective info that we discussed on the previous slide, are they looking at a variable option or a fixed option? Or what's your recommendation in terms of what's going to be best to suit their needs? Now, one thing I would encourage you all to use is the mortgage plan at this sell phase. Now, I know if you're not familiar with it, it's something we have available for absolutely free through our broker-based platform. You can actually create your own mortgage plan through BrokerBase. With the mortgage plan, this is a great time to create it if you're going to be proposing a mortgage to them, because what it does is you can put in the specific mortgage information you're going to be proposing to that client. It's going to give them an overview of that mortgage. It's going to give them ideas of ways they can pay it off faster through prepayment or accelerated payments. So it's really going to help, to position yourself as that mortgage planner and more than just, kind of doing that single transaction. So if you haven't taken a look at that, it is available on our broker-based platform. I would encourage you to check it out, and you can build your own at any time you like. So it's a great piece to be able to give when you're in that sell phase and you're proposing a mortgage to that individual client. So the main kind of focus in the attract and sell phase, in my opinion, when it comes to the attraction part, I mean, there's a million ways you can do it. I know everybody does their own kind of ways through different forms of advertising, referral sources, things like that. But when it comes to that sell phase, let's teach the client how to shop strategically. Everything should be done strategically rather than ad hoc. The goal here, and to really help, as I mentioned, and I can't stress enough to assert yourself as that mortgage professional and mortgage planner, is to work with the client to develop a strategy that's going to work for those specific goals and needs. And those goals and needs are the ones we found out throughout this sell phase, doing that sort of detective work, as we mentioned before. So really, dig down deep into what's going on in their life, what their specific goals are moving forward. Are they going to be having a baby? Are they looking, at getting a rental property in the next few years? Whatever the situation may be, your goal here is to figure that out and work with the client and propose a strategy that's really going to help them achieve their goals. In doing so, of course, that's going to resonate with the client. It's going to get you referrals. It's going to get you a client for life. So I can't stress enough, really, to find out as much as you can about that client and really help and work with them to develop a strategy rather than just, kind of selling that single transaction, which is great. Don't get me wrong. We all want to do mortgages, but really strategizing is how you're going to create those customers for life. Lastly, moving into the wow phase, the last thing I kind of want to touch on here in the attract and sell phase is what kind of experience are you offering that customer when they come to you? And you really want to ask yourself that question. And I know everyone's going to have a different answer there, but you want to really dig down deep and ask yourself, what kind of experience are you going to offer? And my advice here would be to offer a unique experience and something that's consistent and uniform with the majority of your clients. I mean, typically, a lot of you have the same type of business, whether that's a business or, a lot of refinances, whatever it may be, depending on what kind of lane it fits in, to really work on the back end and develop some internal processes so you can offer a unique and consistent experience for every customer. So next is the wow phase, and this is definitely the second distinct phase. Now that we've moved past that attract and sell, you've done your detective work. You know everything you can possibly find out about that client. You've now kind of taken that information, and this is your opportunity to use the knowledge you've gained. So you've done that detective work. You found out what you can about that client, what their goals and needs moving forward are. And as I kind of mentioned before with the financial planner approach, this is your opportunity to really establish yourself as a mortgage professional, as a mortgage planner moving forward. So this is where you can really kind of separate yourself from the crowd and take that stance as a professional partner rather than just someone who's doing a single transaction for that client. Now, when it's in the wow phase, of course, the key here, and I mentioned this before, is obviously to underpromise and overdeliver. So you don't want to make sure that, if you're giving timelines from a lender in terms of response, things like that, you want to always make sure that you're underpromising and you're overdelivering. You don't want to, catch yourself or shoot yourself in the foot, so to speak. You want to prepare that client for anything that may happen. So maybe there's something unique going on. Maybe it's something that doesn't exactly fit in the box. You want to make sure when you are talking to that client, you're in this wow phase, that they're prepared. So if something does come up, it's not unexpected and you're not caught off guard, nor is that client caught off guard and surprised. You want to eliminate any opportunity for surprises here and make sure that everything is as seamless as possible. If there's any changes that could come, anything like that, you want to make sure that you've offered solutions prior to these changes even taking place. So you want to make sure that you've set up kind of a seamless deal process, whether that may be an internal checklist that you share with your client. Maybe you have a client portal. Everyone's going to have something different here, but definitely put some thought in to how can you make your client experience as efficient as possible. And as I mentioned before, you kind of want to focus on something so they have kind of a unique and a consistent experience for all your customers. But the key thing here is to underpromise, overdeliver, be prepared yourself, and also prepare your customer for anything that happens. During the wow phase, when this is your opportunity, you've gained that client. This is where the referral sources can, or sorry, yeah, referrals can already come in from their friends, family, etc. So this is your opportunity to go above and beyond. During the wow phase, also important here, if the referral has come from one of your referral sources, your realtors, financial planners, whoever it may be, make sure that you're in constant contact with them as well. So you want to set up a systematic chain with your referral source, inform them of everything that's happening along the way. If you can automate anything, definitely this is your opportunity to make sure that you can. So checklists, things like that are fantastic ideas here. This is also a great opportunity as you're going through the process or just finishing up to get either a review or a testimonial from that client. Get them to put it on Google. If you're using one of our mortgage websites through BrokerBase, you can put in testimonials. Add that testimonial. If you have your own personal website, the more you can build client reviews and testimonials, the more people are going to feel safe and secure when it comes to doing business with you, in my opinion. So, get them to put it on Google if possible, put it on your website, wherever you can get those client reviews out and in front of people. I would encourage you to take every opportunity to do that. So once you've done that transaction, you've got them initially, you've attracted them, you've sold them on using you as your mortgage professional, you've wowed them through the process with your you're under promising, you're over deliver, your preparedness. You really created a seamless transaction and approach for that client. The last phase is active management. So how do you stay in touch with that client moving forward and create those customers for life? So you want to create, once again, a systematic experience here. So you want to create a systematic post-transaction experience for each and one of your customers. So my suggestion here would be to make everything the same for every client. So if you're using, all the different platforms available, create the same experience. It'll help you to systematize it internally, and it'll make it easier to execute on moving forward. So here's an example of kind of an active management phase that may work for you. You may already have this in place, which is fantastic. You're ahead of the curve, but here's just some suggestions, in my opinion, or an example of an active management program. The first would be a closing gift. I know throughout my experience in dealing with our broker owners throughout Western Canada, a number of them use closing gifts, and they have a fantastic response on that. And I've seen kind of everything under the sun, blankets which have the company logo in, gift cards to a restaurant or a moving company, future shop, things like that. So, whatever, your client base well. So, if you're going to think of introducing a closing gift, give it some thought. Maybe there's something in your local area that would work well. But a closing gift does go a long way with clients, from my experience, for sure. A thank you email, I would definitely encourage you to use. We do have an automated version available through our BAMP program, which is on BrokerBase. And the great thing about that is when you do get when that thank you email does get sent out through BrokerBase, you're going to get an email letting you know it went out. Pick up the phone and call the client. Make sure just how they've gotten settled in their new home, everything's going well. So everything's still hunky-dory, for lack of a better term. You want to make sure that you touch base with them just to once again thank them for doing business with you over the phone, and make sure that ask for that referral as well at that point in time. I would suggest doing newsletters. Whether you do your own or use what we have available through BrokerBase is up to you, but definitely would encourage you to do a quarterly newsletter. Some people prefer monthly. It's entirely a personal choice there. Next, I would definitely do an annual mortgage review, and I think that should be done over the phone. Just pick up the phone, give them a call, and make sure, see where they're at. You've done all that investigating through the attract and sell phase, through the wow phase. This is where you can really wow them, is use that information to make sure that that's still what's going on in their life. Do they still have the same goals and needs that they did when they came to you originally, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years, whatever it may be, prior. So pick up the phone on a yearly basis when that anniversary of the mortgage comes up, and have a conversation with them. Make sure that they're still in the best fit for what their goals are at this point in time in their life. Of course, Lastly would be renewal letters. We do know the banks are fantastic at keeping these renewals, but we do have renewal letters that go out through our BAMP program on broker base. I would encourage you to use those. We have them going down from 9 months all the way down to 1 month. With those, you'll get an email letting you know when they went out to which client. Pick up the phone. I can't stress that enough on that. So when that 9 month renewal goes out to the client, um, pick up the phone, give them a call, and give them a compelling reason as to why they should be, redealing with you again rather than just renewing with their lender or the bank, which I know all of you would do a fantastic job at. So that's just one example of an active management phase, but I would, if you're not doing anything, I would encourage you to give it some thought. See what's going to work for you and your business specifically. If anyone, wants to chat about this or has some looking for some advice or help, I'm happy to pitch in my 2 cents post call. But definitely would encourage you to if you're not doing anything in terms of active management and post transaction communication, start small and just keep adding piece by piece. And before you know it, you'll have a fantastic active management program in place. So that takes care of the 3 phases of the customer and your client today. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be having our next webinar next Tuesday, March 15th at 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 Eastern. And the last webinar in this series is going to focus on your top 5 referral sources, really defining them and how you can kind of maximize those relationships to get more out of them. So once again, thank you guys for joining me. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. I'd be happy to have a conversation or share some thoughts and ideas with you. And everybody have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you.